Hello, dear scholars. Hello, lovely scholars. Hello, darling students. Hello, great achievers. With wholehearted, all-hearted and warm wishes from Utkarsh classes, your mentor Mahendra Kumar Sharma welcomes you with open arms to this amazing world of CUET. That stands for Common Universities Entrance Test. Of course, there are so many questions, there are so many suspicious, pieces of information that all the students who are the aspirants for such kind of great universities, great central universities, they are expecting to be answered. They are expecting actually from that particular platform where they can be able to actually have the authenticated pieces of information. And over here, this is indeed a great pleasure for me as your mentor, as well as Utkarsh classes that we have gone or we are going to introduce. Such an amazing platform where all your queries will be resolved, all your questions will be answered very nicely. So kids, moving further, this is quite first time when universities and this combined or this common entrance examination is going to be held over there. When it comes about language, we are supposed to be very precise, we are supposed to be very honest, we are supposed to be very honest, and we are supposed to be very concentrated towards the various dimensions of the things. As I think you are quite comfortable with the bifurcations of the syllabus, that in what way there will be your compulsory things like we call about the languages, there will be what kind of domain subjects, in what pair, in what combination you are supposed to opt for your domain subjects, then the other things also. So moving further, when it comes about English languages and as well as the other languages, so this is a particular segment, or this is a particular house, or this is a particular, I would say to you, a process where this combined university as well as common universities entrance test is going to create a mesmerizing atmosphere, a mesmerizing house. When it comes about this particular thing, of course there will be actually a combination of some languages, first combination as well as second combinations. So each and every question based upon these all things will be answered shortly to you. But before moving further, let's create a piece of inspiration, a piece of motivation. When it comes about this thing, most of the students are thinking of, oh my god, recently we are supposed to undergo through the examinations of grade 12th, and now this is one more thing where I can't predict my future, what will be my future. So leave aside everything. We are the scholars, we are the students, and most of all, we are supposed to fight. We are supposed to fight, we are supposed to crack. We are supposed to fight, we are supposed to crack. It seems like this is a particular road where we are supposed to travel. And when it comes about the bifurcation, when it comes about the diversion, of course we need to handle it with all our heartedness, with all a precise approach, with all a honest manner. As Gulzar writes, मुसाफिर हूँ यारो, ना घर है ना ठिकाना, मुझे चलते जाना है. मुझे चलते जाना है, बस चलते जाना है. एक राह रुक गई तो दूजी जुड़ गई, मैं मुड़ा जिस तरफ राह मुड़ गई, हवा के परों पर है मेरा आशियाना, मुसाफिर हूँ यारो, मुझे चलते जाना, बस चलते जाना है. दिन ने इशारे से इधर बिठा लिया और रात ने हाथ पकड़कर बुला लिया. सुबह से शाम से मेरा दोस्ताना, मुसाफिर हूँ यारो, मुझे चलते जाना, बस चलते जाना है. We are like those travelers, and when it comes about our travelers, of course our traveling will be justified through the journey, and when journey is uncontrollable, journey is unsurpassable, then it becomes a common approach to understand the journey that we are supposed to adjust with all the curriculum. So over here, when it comes about your CUET this time, of course this is the very first time, but the bifurcation, the selections of your languages, as well as the important highlights which will be the significant parts to your language, these all things will be discussed. So moving further, let's see, creates just have a look over here. Languages 1A and 1B. That means this time when it comes about this CUT examinations 2022, there will be a combination. There will be a combination of two types of languages, where the first category stands for will belong to first A, and the second category that will belong to first B. And when it comes about these two various categories, of course, first of all, we need to focus upon this particular note, what it says to us. It says to us that there will be one question paper which will have 50 questions, out of which 40 questions need to be attempted. Okay, based upon your own selection, like either you have opted for Hindi or else you have opted for English language, maybe you have opted for Spanish, maybe you have opted for anything. That means as per your selection, as per your opting, as per your options, there will be some particular questions based upon the number of 50 questions, and out of those 50 questions you are supposed to answer 40 questions. Out of 50 you are supposed to answer 40 questions, and based upon these 40 questions, where your first category of language, that stands for language section 1A, or else we can call it first A languages. And in this first A series, there will be 13 languages. There will be 13 languages, and these 13 languages are with their code like 1, 2, 3, 4, 101, 102, 103, 104. That will be English, Hindi, Assamese, Bengali, Gujarati, Kannada, Malayalam, Marathi, Odia, Punjabi, Tamil, Telugu, and Urdu languages. These are the 13 important languages. Out of them, you can be able to have the option to opt for one language. In case there are some specific scholars who want to opt for more languages. So out of your second category, like which we call section first B languages, there will be 20 languages. There will be 20 languages, and these languages will be based upon their code number like 2012, the various numbers like Arabic, Bodo, Chinese, Dogri, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Kashmiri language, Konkani, Maithili, Manipuri, Nepali, Persian, Russian, Santhali, Sindhi, Spanish, Tibetan, as well as Sanskrit languages. So now see, there are two bifurcations. There are two specific groups. First A, 1A. Second B, or else we can call it 2B. Out of these two various houses, there will be some specific languages which will belong to the first category. There will be some specific languages which will belong to the second categories, and you have the option to choose for one. Either one or two options. When it comes about your own selections, a candidate, try to pay attention over there. A candidate can choose a maximum of any 3 languages. Any 3 languages. That means when it comes about section A as well as section 1B, there are 2 sections we have discussed. One that is consisting or comprising 30 languages. The second B, first B, that is comprising of 20 languages. So out of these 2 sections, you have every candidate will be dealing with particular option जहां पर वो किसी भी तरीके से 3 languages he can be able to be opted for. That means a candidate can choose a maximum of any 3 languages from section A and section B taken together. In case you want to opt for the various spectrums of languages, then of course out of your first selection, out of your second selection, you can be able to have the right to choose maximum of 3 languages, and those should be in what way? However, the third language chosen needs to be in lieu of 6th domain specific subject chosen by the candidate as applicable. So the maximum number of tests can be taken remains 9 only. That means in case you want to opt for the third more languages, specifically students will always opt for 2 languages. Like if there is any specific student who wants to opt for one more language, then there must be actually a kind of concession from your domain subjects where you are going to opt for 6 domain subjects. But this time, if you have already opted for 3 languages, then you need to actually cut down your 1 domain subject because it will be representing your languages. So over here, it is quite written that however, the third language chosen needs to be in lieu of 6th domain specific subject chosen by the candidate. That means your 6th domain subject, it will be replacing with the selection of your third language from the section 1A as well as 1B. That means in this way, what will be there? It will be your all subjects, your maximum number of subjects, including your languages, besides your domain subjects, they will always be 9 only. Like we can call it 2 languages plus 6 domain specific subjects and then 1 general test. In that way, there will be 9 subjects. In case someone wants to opt for 3 languages, then there can be 3 languages, 5 domain, because 1 you have opted for language. So over here, there will be the deduction. There will be the deduction from your domain subjects and then 1 general test. So these 2 things will be quite compulsory for you to opt for. Either you belong to science stream, humanities, commerce stream. That means the languages part and then general ability will be the most important, the most significant. I would say to you, it will be the universal, it will be the omnipresent. Domain specific subjects, flexibility being provided to help a candidate apply for many universities depending on their eligibility conditions. Now it comes about like sometimes we talk about Banaras Hindu University, sometimes we talk about Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi universities, and the other various central universities. This time, of course, there will be this common universities entrance examinations, but beyond this particular thing, there can be some specific guidelines based upon the university procedures, university protocols, university documents, university release. So till then you are supposed to be very conscious while filling up this particular form that in case I want to opt for these three languages, perhaps it will be able to give me a particular vent to enter, particular access to enter Delhi University as my prioritized university, Jamia Millia Islamia as my priority university, Banaras Hindu University. So that means based upon the other specific guidelines, a student and aspirant has to fill up the form. Okay, so this is very specific. While opting for these languages as well as subjects, you need to be very conscious, you need to be very very particular. The reason is that it will affect your performance as well as your percentile and the time you will be selected for these particular universities, because there will be some specific guidelines also. So try to go through, but before filling up the form, it must be actually, I would say, to made assured. Now moving further, kids, when it comes about your languages, of course we have we have discussed that there will be two categories of 1A as well as 1B. 1A that is comprising of 13 languages, 1B that is comprising of 20 languages. Now it comes about the specific things, how my languages will be tested. Okay, in case I have opted for English language, I have opted for Hindi language, Spanish I have opted for something else. So in what way these languages will be assessed? So there is some strict as well as particular guideline which has been given at the right hand of this actually table. Look at here. Questions from the languages section will be from the following topics, but are not limited to. Because there are some specific questions which are based upon the various guidelines of universities. They can be able to create some modifications, but most of the question, the gist of this particular and the call of the day will always be in this way, that this will be the layout, that this in this series, in this layout, or with this particular mirror of these questions, my questions will be raised, my questions will be asked, and I would be comfortable enough to answer those questions. So when it comes about the NTA guidelines, specifically based upon your CUET samarth.ac.in. So it comes about these questions which will be raised based upon the linguistic categories like 1A or 1B. These questions will exclusively based upon reading comprehension. So this time, once again, I know you all are grade 12 students, and when it comes about your own assessment of reading comprehension, you always keep on thinking, you have always taken it for granted that yes sir, it's very easy, okay, it's very understandable, okay, at the end we are supposed to attempt for reading comprehension. No. When it comes about reading comprehension, it is very precise, because your previous understanding, whatever that you have understood based upon languages, whatever you have derived, whatever you have obtained from the previous experiences, these all pieces of information, these all memories, these all learning, these all understanding now, that will be assessed through reading comprehension, because the passages will be absolutely unseen. And when it comes about unseen, we are unable to stick to something that this will be a part of my curriculum, this will be a part of my assessment. Not at all. But the layout will be the same. Passage will be absolutely unseen. But when it comes about your all subjective questions, all subjective approaches, all subjective topics, they will be assessed based upon reading comprehension. So try to, right from today, you are supposed to actually boost your energy. You are supposed to work harder with your understanding, reading newspapers, reading magazines, reading unseen reports and passages, every kind of things. Because in grade 12th also you have discussed, and in grade 11th also you have discussed, you have you have been assessed based upon your factual passages, based upon discursive passages. So over here also with the same approach, your you will be assessed, your performance will be assessed. And now this time there will be some specific topics. Of course, reading unseen passages will be over there, but these all passages will be based upon some specific topics. There will be some specific parameters to assess and to incorporate and to raise questions, and these parameters will be, first of all, are three passages. That means there will be three categories of passages, and these unseen or these reading comprehension, three categories, we can call it three-dimensional approaches. So these three-dimensional approaches will be factual passages, narrative passages, and literary passages. Moving further, we will deal more about the factual, that what does factual passage stand for, what does literary passage stand for, and what does a narrative passage stand for. Of course, when it comes about a grade 12 students, these things quite understandable. He is quite comfortable enough to understand that yeah, a factual passage, okay, will be with such kind of categories, a narrative will be with such kind of categories. The same happens with a literary also. But the time when you these factual, narrative as well as literary, okay, these things will be assessed. There will be some again specific topics, and these topics will be based upon your verbal ability. And the time when it comes about verbal ability, of course, there will be your dictional approaches, there will be your word meanings, there will be your odd and even numbers, odd questions and odd words, there will be your sentence order reordering proper, there will be your error corrections, there will be, you know, your all grammatical approaches also. So in verbal ability, each and every approach to language, each and every question based upon the languages now, that will be assessed and that will be asked. So we are supposed to be very precise while answering these questions, while understanding. We need to recall all things based upon grammatical approaches. Then it comes about rearranging the parts. Of course, sometimes it happens like some sequence has been given to us, and based upon some sequence there will be some specific order like PQRS, ABCD. Now out of that particular arrangement, maybe it is randomly arranged, maybe it is disorganized, maybe it is organized. A few options will be given to you, like which option will be the best one, ABCD, CD, AB, AC, whatever. That means based upon the sequence of the arrangement of the language, as well as the approach to language, as well as the approach to unseen that particular passage, and the theme, the writing, as well as the understanding, these all things randomly they will be arranged, and based upon that random arrangement we are supposed to opt for the right approach to create a perfect as well as meaningful approaches. Next, it comes about choosing the correct word. Of course, it can be based upon some question tags, some passive constructions, some modal auxiliaries. It can be based upon narrations also. It can be based upon subject-verb concord also. It can be based upon synonyms, antonyms. It can be based upon, that means any kind of linguistic approach can be raised based upon the choosing correct word. It can be like an odd word. It can be like it's not a proper pair, that we call It can be based upon the various literary terms also, based upon analogy, based upon syllogism and the other things. That means we are supposed to concentrate each and every aspect of our language. Then it comes about synonyms and antonyms, and then based upon your vocab. In vocab, it can be like one word substitution, it can be like a misfit word, it can be like a misspelled word, it can be like a proper spelling to the word. So that means these all things, these verbal ability, these rearranging the parts, these choosing the correct word, synonyms and antonyms based upon vocabularies. Okay, these things will be comprising or will be indicated through those unseen passages. On these unseen passages will be based upon your factual as well as narrative as well as literary. So your factual, your unseen factual, your unseen literary, your unseen critical, these all things will be based on verbal ability, rearranging the parts, choosing the correct words, synonyms and antonyms as well as vocabulary. Now it comes to some specific highlights that what does verbal ability it means. It means is an important section of most of the competitive exams. Of course, if you opt for like you are preparing for Cuet examinations, you are preparing for the other like bank examinations, PO examinations. So this verbal reasoning and verbal ability, it is always tested based upon linguistic approaches. It contains different types of questions which are intended to judge abilities in word power. What kind of word power do you possess? How did you derive out of reading the particular passage? Okay, how to what extent you are comfortable with your previous understanding, with your previous learning, with your previous vocab power? Because since the beginning of the day, when we start learning English language, of course, we keep on instilling and inculcating a few new words. Okay, we keep on adding a few new words to a vocab, to word power. So to what extent you are comfortable with these words as they are coming to you, as they are being recalled, as they are being revised through some passages. Then it comes to sentence corrections. Of course, there will be some misspelled word, there will be some randomly arrangement. We are supposed to recorrect these statements, spotting errors. Of course, if there are some mistakes, grammatical mistakes, linguistic mistakes are over there, we are supposed to, spot them and find them out. And then it comes about verbal reasoning also. Verbal reasoning based upon a word power like synonyms, antonyms, and the other one-word substitutions. Moving further, when it comes about your factual passage, that this is actually a significant part. I think the time when you were great, like if you are CBSE students, throughout you were comfortable, because the second category of our passage, it will always comprise factual ones. And when it comes about the factual passages, they are absolutely or exclusively based upon some facts, some data. And we can call it a particular flow chart or a particular report based upon any event, any kind of project, any kind of, scheme, any kind of things. So out of the case study is created with the help of the flow charts, with the help of the pie charts, with the help of bar graph, and all the data, all the facts, they are indicated with the numerical ways in the form of statements as well as words. So those all things, when they are comprised into the form of a passage, it is considered a factual passage. So it will be a significant part. Then it comes about your narrative passage. A narrative is an account of events, characters, and plot. And a narrative passage is a passage or essay that tells a story. That means it's quite interesting. It's based upon some discursive approaches. It's based upon some narrative approaches. Maybe it is an event which has been described. Maybe it is a part of story. Maybe it is an extract. Maybe it is an excerpt which has been taken, which has been actually, I would say to you, extracted from a particular story, or it is a complete story also. And based upon that particular story, your idioms, your phrases, your word meanings, your spotting errors, your sentence corrections, your word analogies, your one word substitutions, your rearranging words, these all things now they will be assessed over there. When it comes about the third category that we call literary passage, of course when it comes about literature, that is a significant part of English language as well as literature, because when it comes about grade 11th, grade 12th, grade 10th, grade 9th, a subject bifurcation of English language and literature, English core, English elective will always be with 4 categories. In grade 12th, to some extent grammars are omitted over there, but even after the third category or the fourth category, to some specific extent, it comes about English literature. Literature is always assessed based upon literary devices, literary apprehensions, literary critical appreciations, literary approaches, understanding literature, to what extent metaphorical languages and the other forms. So when it comes about a literary passage, it will be always a particular passage that's simply a portion or section of a written work, either fiction or non-fiction. Maybe it is an essay which has been written by a great writer. Maybe it is a story which has been composed by someone. Maybe it is a part of your novel which you have read once. Maybe it is a part of a non-fiction category, a short story. It can be a part of some significant work like in the form of drama or novel which have been composed by someone else. So over there, that particular piece of literature will always be based upon the other approaches which are actually the significant parts of your literature, like non-fiction, short stories, dramas and novels. Can be as short as a sentence, but most consist at least one paragraph and usually several paragraphs. So it can be like there are some essays which are very short, there are some essays which are very bigger. So those all things now they will be comprised over there in your CUT examinations. So kids, the journey is tougher, the journey is harder, the journey is quite stronger. But I know all the scholars, they are also with their with their perfect approaches, with their honest approaches. And Utkarsh classes, okay, we are also going to stand on toes so that we can be able to be more and more comfortable with your with your understanding, with your confidence, to boost your confidence. And as your mentor, I just you just mark my word, I would be able to put forward my best efforts. And I think when it comes about perfection, when it comes about success, it's not individual, it's always collective, and the collective efforts always fetch better results. So I owe, as well as I would say to you, I promise with you, and I think the same promises are supposed to be made by you with yourselves, that yeah, we are supposed to work collectively, we are supposed to work precisely, we are supposed to work honestly to crack this CUT, so that we can be able to be a significant part of these significant universities. We can be able to actually see in our eyes those dreams, and those dreams can be able to be actually made true and quite faithful to ourselves, and we can be able to be more and more comfortable, so that we can be able to fill all the dreams that we have watched, that our parents are watching. So with all the best luck, with all the best efforts, let's create this historical event right Monday onwards. And I hope and I wish that yeah, we all will be bringing and we all will be fetching good and better results. So with this all wishes, stay healthy and stay safe, and we will catch you later over there with the precise approaches to these languages as well as their reading comprehensions. Till then, stay healthy and stay safe. Bye everyone. Thank you.